Hey folks, welcome back to Game Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. Today we're taking a look at the Xbox Tokyo Game Show side of things. Eventually we'll look at PlayStation as well when I can get that out. But first we get to see Metal Gear Solid Delta. This is the Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater release. We still technically don't have a release date yet, but it's looking like 2025. And honestly, it looks really good from Konami. Like, they went all out in creating this thing. This is one of the most popular games in the entire series. And man, it's way better than the ports that they did for Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3. I was actually hoping they would remaster those, but they didn't. They ported them over, and those ports are worse than the original games, if you can believe that. So Konami really went out and did themselves a solid, and to us as well. But yeah, this game just looks incredible, and I'm so excited to pick this up. If you are curious or wishing to have this, the physical copy, you can pre-order the tactical edition for, I think it's either $60 or $70, and you get the steelbook with that and a few other probably digital things. But I more or less just want a physical copy of the game, because I hope they eventually release all of the Metal Gear Solids so that I can actually own them all on Xbox. That would be my goal, because I played them all on PlayStation, of course. Next two, we got to see StarCraft 1 and 2. StarCraft 1 is actually a remastered version. It's not that they remastered it this time, but they remastered it earlier. Then we're also getting StarCraft 2. Both of these will be on Game Pass on November 5th. We're going to have multiplayer modes, all sorts of stuff. So this is like a small little collection. And we could tell that something was up. You'll see later here. But like Phil Spencer was wearing a StarCraft t-shirt. So we knew something that was coming, right? Also, we got to see Threads of Time. We got to see Reroll, which is out now on Game Pass, which is more of a kind of relaxed, cozy game. And we also got to see more in-depth look of Frostpunk. Or excuse me, Fragpunk. And the devs actually took some time to talk about this, talk about some of the things that they were doing and changing things up in the gameplay. I'm not really sure if it's really going to be enough. I think people will try it, just like X-Defiant, but it could fall off pretty quickly too, because it's hard to break into these live service markets, especially when there's a lot of first-person versions already out there, like X-Defiant, like Warzone, like Apex Legends, and Overwatch. I mean, it's getting pretty challenging because you're having a lot of copies. So there's actually an open beta pretty soon on October 10th, and this game too will be cross-play between Xbox and PC. We also got to see Altair Yumi, which is March 21st, 2025. And this one very much looks like a Final Fantasy style, like Final Fantasy 16. Real-time combat, no turn-based, open-world RPG idea, which actually looks more like an open world, not just like an open area, but we'll actually have to see some actual gameplay first when it comes out. This, too, has never come to Xbox before, so I forgot to write the publisher down. It's not Konami, it's not Square Enix, it's somebody else. It starts with a K. Chemotech, something or other. Anyway, so yeah, sorry about that. I didn't write them down. But yeah, they've never released a game on Xbox, and here we're actually getting that. Let's see. Zen Duality, Echoes of Edu. This is January 24th, 2025. And again, this is an open world idea with mech, real-time combat. Looks like you can actually play with your friends too, which is a cool idea. And I'm actually looking more into those where there's more co-opness in video games. And it'd actually be pretty awesome to have that. Next, we got to see Slitterhead, which we got to see that for a little bit more in depth to a degree again. This is November 8th of this year. Also got to see Starbites. Probably 2024, though things didn't overly seem that sure about that, at least from what I could research. This will be an open area with turn-based battles like old Final Fantasy style combat, which there's definitely a market for that. Next, we got to see Dragon Quest III. This will be November 14th. We also got to see Trials of Mana and Legend of Mana. This will both be on Game Pass as of right now. And I'm actually thinking of trying these out because, again, we haven't really ever gotten mana games before. We did get a mana game last month, which unfortunately the studio closed with just like a skeletal crew, which was pretty frustrating because the game had like literally just released. So there's a skeletal crew to kind of like maintain support and stuff, but yeah, they're having major cuts over there. But yeah, Trials of Mana and Legend of Mana, you can actually try these out now if you have Game Pass. Probably Game Pass Ultimate. Next, we got to see Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster 1 through 6. Now, this was actually pretty surprising. This is available now to purchase. This is not on Game Pass. And but yeah, actually getting 1 through 6. So I remember Final Fantasy 7 on PlayStation 1, and that was a huge deal. But yeah, to actually get 1 through 6 as a kind of pixel remaster and being able to play these stories again, but being able to play them on Xbox again. Square Enix is another company that's made it clear that they want to expand over to Xbox, and because, in my opinion, it's not just Xbox that's making these companies change; it's actually Game Pass. Because Game Pass is not just restricted to Xbox; it's restricted to Fire Stick TV. It's also out there for some of these are probably going to be coming to mobile at some point, at least the simpler games. We also have the cloud out there. And then we also have PC. And so it's like when you put your game on Game Pass, you're not just putting it on Xbox. And I think people need to understand that. You're putting it across almost every single platform besides PlayStation. Because if you have a ROG Ally, if you have a Steam Deck, if you have Xbox, well, yeah, maybe not a Steam Deck. I'm not sure if you can get Game Pass on that. I'll have to check. Let me know in the comments. But two Xbox is also making their own app for mobile types of stuff, and there's rumors that they're going to have their own handheld too. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that at the Tokyo Game Show like I was hoping for. So there's still some time left. Maybe we'll see it later this year. But yeah, I think publishers are starting to see they need to continue to make more money, need to continue to expand their consumer base. So Xbox makes sense, but Game Pass is the real draw. Because maybe with some games like Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster 1 through 6, maybe they want those initial sales right away. Excuse me. But eventually, a lot of these games, like so far this year, there's roughly been about 40 games that I've wanted to play or thought about buying that I've actually come on Game Pass, and so I haven't had to buy them. And I mean, some of those are pretty big titles, and others of those are pretty cheap or pretty indie, which there's nothing wrong with that. They're just at a cheaper price point. But yeah, 40 titles is crazy with how beneficial Game Pass has been, especially if you run a channel or something. You just the amount of access you have is crazy. So yeah, overall, that's what we got to see. It was kind of a smaller showcase. Overall, I gave it a C plus. I also didn't list all of the games that were in the showcase because not all of them I felt like were extremely pertinent or ones that we'd seen before, just like Indiana Jones. And but yeah, there were several repeats, still some without a release date. That's why I partly gave that a C plus. Is it's like, okay, we're seeing again some more kind of oversaturation, in my opinion, of different trailers, seeing things we've already seen, and then yeah, some things still didn't have a release date, which is kind of weird, like Starbites or Metal Gear Solid Delta. We did get to see some deeper dives into like Fragpunk, Metal Gear Solid Delta, and Slitterhead, which was nice. These deep dives I actually appreciate because you get to hear from the teams themselves. And most actually are worth listening to. I feel like they provide actually a little more value. Many of the games too during the game show are from the same category. And so they're all very much kind of like Final Fantasy style, Mana style, turn-based kind of style, Japanese RPG. There's just a lot of that. And it feels like oversaturation. There's not a lot of differences there. So most though, I gotta say, look better than most AAAs we've been getting lately the last couple of years. Like a lot of Ubisoft games, or even like Bethesda. Starfield was a letdown, in some capacities, and they're working on fixing that, which is great. I eventually want to take a look at that again. There's a really heavy focus on Xbox growing and their partnerships with Asia. As a result, I'm guessing from the backlash with Tango GameWorks. There's also a heavy focus again on Game Pass. So again, that's what Xbox is Game Pass anywhere and everywhere you want to play. And then we also had Sarah express toward the end that there are 1,400 partnerships in development for Xbox from different Asian studios, which is pretty insane. And that is just the Asian studios. Not partnerships. 1,400 games, excuse me, that are coming to Xbox. Excuse me. This doesn't mean exclusives. This just means that the game is actually coming to Xbox as well. And I think in most cases, most publishers at this point are going to put it on PC, put it on PlayStation, put it on Xbox, put it on Nintendo Switch if they can, or the next gen Nintendo, which we should be getting something later this year, or at least word on that. But yeah, 1,400 games coming to Xbox. It's not going to be on any short of games, and that's just Asian studios. Also, wasn't given a time frame on that. Probably just in the next several years. But yeah, still, that's pretty insane. So yeah, we don't know the optics surrounding that. We also don't know if this includes mobile. We also don't know if this includes Game Pass contracts or any type of how many indies versus how many AAAs. Again, we don't know any of that, but 1,400 is pretty high. We didn't have any hardware announcements, just games. Did mention the Fire Stick for Game Pass, probably to break more into the Asian market. Over there, especially in Japan, their prices are pretty insane. For just about everything right now. Like just regular PlayStation 5, I think, is roughly about 2% of the average salary over there in Japan, which is crazy. And then, yeah, a Pro is almost 3%. And so, yeah, when you're spending that kind of money, it makes it difficult. And so I think what Xbox is trying to do is they're trying to push the Fire Stick as an option to still play games without breaking the bank, because it is extremely challenging. And then they also have scalping over there too. There's not enough PlayStations right now to actually be able to play Black Myth Wukong, and that's been an issue. It's also been the number one selling console on AliExpress. And they're trying to get consoles wherever they can. But yeah, if things aren't available, but you still want to play something, or it's just too expensive, as that's also raised prices just in and of itself, then you still have the Fire Stick that you can just plug into your TV, most likely. I do like that Xbox is getting a lot from Square Enix, and Square Enix has totally jumped on board with Xbox. Pretty much every game that they're going to make from here on out is eventually going to come to Xbox. Doesn't mean we won't get some timed exclusives. Like with, I'm trying to remember, like with, I think it's Capcom. I don't remember who owns Silent Hill, but anyway, the Silent Hill 2 game, we'll be getting that a year later. So Sony will have a 12-month exclusive, and eventually we'll get it on October 25 to Xbox. And so, yeah, they'll continue to make sales over the next probably 18, 24 months. But, yeah, companies are just figuring out that they need to actually expand their consumer base and expand their market. And I think it's cool that that's actually happening, because one issue that my buddies and I used to talk about was that we hated the console war when we were kids, because we all had to figure out what console we were going to buy. And what this has been doing lately with the changes from Xbox, it's forcing both Xbox and Sony to make their games more available to everybody. And the one that's eating the best is PC, by far. They're literally getting everything. So thanks for tuning in, folks. I didn't want to make this too long. You can always follow me at GamingGarbage22 over at YouTube. Don't forget, we also have Discord, Twitter X, and Twitch. If you want to see it first, you go to Twitch, and it's all unedited. It's just raw there. But I don't care where you watch, whatever's more convenient for you guys. So, yeah, that's all I got for you. And we will cover the PlayStation side of Tokyo Game Show later. And then we'll also have gaming news later. And I finally finished Tomb Raider 2, so the rest of those levels are going to be rolling out fairly soon. And with that, folks, hopefully you guys are doing well. Man, what a mess with the Helena hurricane. I'll cover that in gaming news. But yeah, be safe out there. Prepare. And if you are a part of that mess, it won't last forever. It will eventually get better. So with that, folks, I'll see you guys on the next one.